everyone, my name is Jocelyn Doan. I am in 8th grade and in the animation category. I did a stop motion cooking animation called Techno Tastes, which I got the idea from my fascination with the world kind of evolving into a society based all around technology and just having everything right at your disposal with a simple click. Though it did turn out into a fun and wacky project that wasn't quite as serious as I made it seem like. It's not really intended for anything other than some entertainment purposes and possibly ASMR since I got some very loud sound effects in there, which I guess some could listen to and find it calming. Anyways, I'll be showing you the steps and the process I took to get to the end result of my animation. So first step for basically everyone are the photo sheets, which is honestly the easiest part of it and so fun to set up and play around with. You can see the number of props and elements I used in the photos here, which was honestly a lot since I had a lot of potential props that I eventually left out on the end, but the ones that did make it in the final cut were just for the background since I wanted to change it up between the scenes. I even made my own self-made tripod since I didn't have my own, and I definitely didn't trust leaving my dad's phone, which by the way was what I used as a camera, on like a stack of books, so this is what I made. The two flaps right here have a narrow cut to them, so it gives me more of a straight ahead kind of view since there's not much space for the phone to move, and the other two flaps right here have a wider cut, so I have more of an angled view. I like to have them both in one cup so I can switch between the two views when I'm going between photos. Oh, and the rocks there are just to balance the phone's weight out because I don't want it to be falling on me while taking the pictures. That would be a nightmare. So now that I've got all my photos, I'm going to take my phone and hook it up to a USB charger that's already plugged into my PSC. Go to File Explorer, scroll all the way down here, go to the phone that appears down here, go to Phone, DCIM, Camera, then wait for all the photos to load. The screen thing right here is just to show you it's loading in. Then scroll all the way down to the bottom. And you can see some of the example photos I took down here of my keyboard to show you guys. And to select it, you would click the very first photo that you want, hit the shift key, click the last photo that you want, hit cut because you're cutting it from the phone's hard drive, go up to here to documents. I would usually hit new then folder, but I already got a folder here for those for projects. Click there, hit paste, and it's going to download the files one by one. And then you can see when I go back to documents all the photos that I have for my animation. It just helps me get organized with so many photos. So we can close out of that and go to the software that I used, which was Corel Video Studios, where I'll show you the basics of it. Now we're in Corel Video Studios, and first thing you see are all these photos, which is quite a lot, so that I think I have over 1,000 plus of them. And I'm very impressed with the software keeping up with the overload of the pictures. So we've got the preview over here, which I look to as a way to see all the photos in the sequence I want, but it's not very good for the actual animation of it as it takes a while for the program to get used to it, so it comes out really choppy and blocky. It's got project, and it's got clip, where you can switch between a clip playing and then how it looks in the project altogether. Beside it, you have the usual backwards, forwards, pause, volume, HD, all that. And then over here we have the media files, sounds, templates, transition, titles, overlays, all that. I didn't use these much except for the media files, which I used to add in all the pictures from the folders, and the titles for the beginning and the end credits. Down here we have the timeline view, and if I wanted to see the other pictures better and individually, I'll switch to the storyboard view to get a clearer look. Now back to the timeline view, you're going to see all these tracks, the video track, which is for my pictures. These three overlay tracks are for images that I want to put over certain clips. The title tracks, let me just go down here. The title tracks are, of course, for titles. The voice track I have grayed out, but you can enable it by clicking this, but I don't really use it that much, so I already disabled it. Then down here we have like thousands of sound effect and music tracks, and I use a lot of these, and I have even one music song all the way over here to toward the very end right here that goes on for like 8 seconds at the end. And you have the slider to slide through all the photos. It kind of blends into the background, so it's kind of hard to see. And then you even have zooming in, zooming out with the magnifying glass, just to see the entire look of the animation. Above the tracks, you have all these tools. You have undo, redo, sliding, slipping, adjusting the speed, all that. But I don't really use these since I already have the photos taken the way I wanted them to in the photo shoots. Now I'm going to show you how I edit my animation clips and when I was taking the pictures, I took them over different periods of time, so of course the lighting would be different in each frame, and I didn't have a dark room either where I could block out all the natural sunlight and use my own lighting. That's why some of the photos where my tablet appears turned out to be quite dark, as the blue lights would dim the rest of the background to a considerable amount. To fix that, I right-clicked on the photo that I wanted to adjust the brightness on. Then I would hit Open Options panel. Then you see all these tabs that appear: Edit, Effect, Color, Lens Correction. I usually ignore all those except for the color tab, and then once I click on that, you can see all these adjustments on the hue, the shadow, the exposure, highlights, all that. I mostly focus on the shadows and kind of play around with the others, such as this, but I didn't really use hue that much. And once I've customized it to make it appear brighter, and once I'm satisfied with all that, I can zoom in to see this FX symbol and the star up here to show it's been applied. And since I want it to be in the photos that where the tab appears, I'm going to right click, hit copy attributes, and then basically select all the ones that have the tab in them and hit paste all attributes. And if I don't like the look for certain ones, then I'll go back and adjust the slider on them. Now that the brightness has been fixed, I'll go into the actual motion of the animation and fix how fluid it looks by increasing or decreasing the photo duration, which you can do by right-clicking again, hitting change photo duration, and then you can see that you can change the minutes, the seconds by hitting these arrows. I usually go for 3 seconds, but sometimes I'll bump it up to draw out the scene if it's too short in my opinion, or just to have a little variety. Onto the tracks, where I'll start with the overlay tracks, right here, which I use for some images that I wanted to include onto the clips. Like if I scroll over here, I wanted to use the light bulb image, which wasn't an option in Video Studio, so I went to canva.com right here. I hit create a design. I usually go 5,000 to 5,000, and now I've got a blank canvas. And to the left of it are all these options. I normally choose elements and then search up for what I want. So in this case, I would hit search up light bulb, and I've got all these light bulbs that appear. But you have to be careful because all these images that have the crown on it, such as right here, are premium or pro, and you'll have to pay for it. I steer clear of these and only pick the ones without the crown. So I chose this one, which I can make big or small, adjust it, move it around, and I can even change the color of it to fit what I want it to be. So once I've customized it, I will hit download, and then I will go to another website called editphotosforfree.com. So I select the image that I want, go here to downloads, I'll click this one to show you. And basically what this does is it computer generates it without the background, because when you're importing the image into Video Studios directly from Canvas, you'll get this ugly white square behind the image, which you don't want. So this just removes that. Once you've got that, you just download it and then go to another website called Photopea. So click on new project. You can just put the name as whatever you want. Hit transparent, make sure it is transparent. Hit create, and then go to file, click open and place, and then just choose the download that you just did. So let me go to this, and there it is. Now that you've got it, hit file again and export it as a PNG. So once you've exported it, go back to Video Studios, go to an overlay track, right click, and just insert the photo into whatever overlay track you want. Choose the PC, go to downloads, then choose the one that you did, and now you've got it. And you can move these around too, so they're not going to stay there forever. You can also move the clips around, make sure it's big, small, such as this. I made it this length to fit the clip that I wanted to be in. And I then line it up with the clip I want it to be in. I also preview it to double check if I want it to be there. The next tracks are the title tracks, which are pretty self-explanatory. I pick a certain title, such as the beginning credits right here, Techno Tastes. I chose this font and then just click on it, and you can move it around. Double click on it, and then you can choose the font styles, border, shadow, backdrop, all that to fix the font or edit it, and just line it up with the starting and ending pictures. The next tracks are the most exhausting ones, which are the music and sound effect tracks. So I have some of these tracks because one, some of the sounds I wanted to overlap each other, or I figured it sounded better than being on top of each other to make it sound better, and two, because I was separating the sound effects for each section of the animation. There weren't a variety of sound effects to use in Video Studio, so I went to this website called zapsplat.com, and you just search up what you want. And I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised by the effects that I used that were really similar to the noise the object actually makes in life. Like here, where I got the sound effect of an Australian coin sliding on a table, which mimicked the sound of the toast that I was using sliding into the toaster oven, and it fit quite well. Besides Zapsplat, I also went to Fesliyan Studios if I couldn't find the sound effect that I wanted in Zapsplat, and I would just go through these categories and look for the one that I wanted. These songs are available to download, but you have to credit them for the sound, which I did do to both of them in the end credits. I also used some royalty-free music from bensound.com to use at the very end of the animation. Once you download it, you right-click and you insert audio to the music track that you want it to be in. And once you select a clip, you have these little markers here, which you can adjust to be in the length of the sound that you want it to be in. And if you like a certain part of it, just move the marker to cut the bit off that you don't want. And if you want one section for one clip and another section for a separate clip, move the slider or the scrubber to where you want to separate it, then hit the scissors so it can split. So now you've got two separate sound clips, and basically you can move those two separate sound clips to different locations. Now I'm going to go to the Share tab once I'm done editing the sound effects and the photos, choose what file I want it to be in, and export, and hit Start to export the animation. I've learned quite a lot as I came in this project with no experience in video editing or in these programs, and now I've learned how to import and export clips and images, syncing up sounds with pictures, and also editing the pictures themselves. The process of taking the photos was definitely a unique aspect of the project, and setting the backgrounds and moving the props to my imagination was the most fun for me. Seeing it all come together in Video Studios made it all worth it, and if I were to redo the project, I would definitely improve and revise on the constant lighting of the photos to make it more of a seamless transition between the scenes to make it seem like one fluid animation. Thank you for listening.